Mm. Hey, welcome to Chelsea. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here today to talk about your experience with Yoni Steaming lately. And fantastic. It's an absolute delight because from when I met Chelsea about a year ago, it was in a women's circle, a red tent circle, and we just shared space that particular day. And about a year or so later, I ended up going to Chelsea's circle because Chelsea is a facilitator of women's circles, as well as a emotional clearing practitioner using the spiral method or modality. And it was a delight to be in your circle space, and I remember just sharing what I do, which I will start the conversation with you as well. And
yeah, it was an interesting turn of events that night. I had organised a circle specifically talking about yoni massage, and had been looking online at an event on Yoni Steaming, and unbeknownst to me, Helen walks in the room and starts talking about her steaming circle and Yoni Steaming and sharing lots of information, and I was like, hang on, I was already planning on going to that thing. Is that you? That's you. You're here. Hello. Yeah, so very synchronicity, like lots of synchronicities happened that night.
Oh, absolutely. And tell the viewers what it was that drew you to look at Yoni Steaming.
Well, as far back as I can remember, I just knew that my cycles were not quite normal, and grew up in a fairly average household where we didn't really talk about periods and what we experienced, and it was always kind of just shrugged off as this pain in the neck type thing that all women have to deal with, and it's kind of gross and we don't talk about it and you just are in pain for a week or whatever. And so then I had a child. I've got a 4.5-year-old, so had a vaginal birth with her and experienced lots of shifts in hormones and changes. I also suffer from, well, don't suffer, but I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that's sort of also contributed to my abnormal cycles that I was experiencing. And then also experiencing a miscarriage just over a year ago now. There's been lots of changes and shifts to my cycle that I wasn't fully aware of until Helen was explaining to me what like a normal healthy period was. And I was just going, I don't have any of that. Like, normal happy period is what, 28 to 31 day cycle.
Yeah.
Blood, as you were saying. Can you go over the the specifics of it?
A healthy bleed for a woman is around 4 to 5 days of little to no pain with minimal clots and rich red blood. So there's not the brown blood to start off with, there's not the brown blood to end with, or if it is, it's really quite minimal, and we don't want the pain because we haven't been served a female's body to go through 35 years of menstruating 12 times a year to experience that much pain. It means that there is an abnormality and imbalances going on in our body.
Yeah.
There are ways to rectify that and take a bit of a deep dive.
So that was the information that I that you gave to me at Circle, and it was clear as day that that's how it really should be. And it was the first time I'd ever really heard and accepted to the full extent how out of whack my cycles were. And I'd spent sort of the last 2 years or so, you know, paying attention to my cycles, but not really knowing what could be done about it, if anything could be done about changing it. So,
what marks your cycle?
So what was marking my cycle before getting into Yoni Steaming was I was experiencing an average of 42-day cycles, so quite long. I was bleeding for 7 days, which is also quite long and very tiring by the end of the week, and left me feeling really deficient in a lot of ways. And I was experiencing 3 to 4 days of that 7 days as brown blood, stagnant, lots of big heavy clotting. I was having a solid 24 hours of contraction pains for the first day, if not like into the second day as well. And during that contraction time, I was experiencing that kind of vacant brain fog vacancy that a lot of women experience in childbirth. That was what my periods were. Starting a sentence and forgetting that I was even saying anything, that kind of vacancy. And that was my normal. The normal that I was, you know, I was really trying to send love to, but actually just kind of hoping that there was a way to get out of it. And
it's an adaptation that we take. We adapt. We adapt our every day and our every week and our every month to try and handle our period and our cycle, which can leave us quite washed out.
Yeah.
So, oh, wonderful. Thank you. And so tell me, and I know, but I want to share it with the viewers.
The exciting part.
We had yes. This was then and this is now. So we had a consult about a month ago where we went took a very deep dive into your history and also the markers that mark the symptoms of your bleed. And I know I put you on quite a vigorous protocol, which is normally we would say that you know, you'd steam 3 times before your period and 3 times after your period / bleed. But for yourself, given the conditions, you were actually on a protocol that lasted, I got you steaming every 3 days. Now, viewers listening to this, please don't just go ahead and just go, wow, these are my symptoms and this is what I'm going to do at home. I really want to encourage you to reach out, that if you do need a consult, have a consult, because we do need to nut it out. It is a professional practitioner consult, and you walk away with a protocol and you also walk away with the herbs that you need. But this is Chelsea's story today about what is possible and what has actually been achieved in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I also highly recommend the consult. I found that really invaluable, just to really lay out all of the symptoms, everything that my body's been through, what it currently goes through. And I remember it wasn't until there was like one key question that you asked and you're going, oh, okay, I actually need to change that a little bit now, like with that piece of information. So yeah, you may kind of be going, oh yeah, I'm really similar to what she's expressing was her situation, but there's like very specific key parts that may mean that it's a bit different for you. So definitely consult.
So for Chelsea, you're steaming every 3rd day, following a duration of time is really important, as well as whether you cloak or not, which means that whether you put a warm blanket around you or not. I loved the fact that Chelsea is well known and self-professed that she works with the op shop gods, and got yourself an amazing rice cooker, which is what I recommend if you're steaming for longer periods of time, to keep the heat source constant, and you're in control of that heat source as well. And so I got this amazing message from Chelsea only last week, and I'm going to let you tell the viewers what you've experienced as your bleed and as your cycle.
Yeah, thank you. So I first started the steaming at Helen's Yoni Steaming Circle, which was really gentle. This was before the consult, before the protocol. It was my first introduction. We steamed for about 10 minutes and had this gorgeous ritual entering space and ritual meditation and massage, and it was just blissful, and had the consult and started steaming the next day. So I steamed every 3 days. I had tracked I had been logging my period on an app on my phone, so I knew when my bleeds were and when they ended. And so started the steam the day after the consult, steamed every 3 days, and then steamed day 21, 22 and 23. And then I just intuitively felt, because it was quite intensive steaming process, and the amount and the length and everything was quite intense, I felt that I really actually just needed to have a bit of a break, which was perfect. I didn't realise I was supposed to have a break, but yes, it was perfect. Gave myself a break, and I was going to bed one night and I went to the bathroom, getting ready for bed, went to the toilet and realised that I had started bleeding. And I'm going, I'm not expecting to be bleeding for another 12 days, being on my 42-day cycle. And immediately, not immediately, I got off the toilet first, but I messaged Helen and said, I just want to let you know that this has happened. I'm going to let you know how I'm going in the morning, just to see whether it's, whether it's just a bit of spotting or whether, it continues. And by the next morning, I was fully into the first day of my bleed, experiencing, I had a wonderful sleep that night. I was experiencing that sort of movement feeling that some of us are sensitive to on the first day of bleed, where you can feel things moving and flowing around within your womb space. And I had little to no pain. I got to the end of day one and I'm thinking, this is amazing. This does not feel like my normal period. And into day two, when I would usually be experiencing a lot of really heavy clotting, and I was just astounded by the colour of my blood. I'd never seen my blood be so vibrant and red before, with no clotting. And every time I went, it sounds silly, but every time I went to the toilet, I was so excited to see what things looked like. It was so different. And it just felt so invigorating. It actually it didn't weigh me down, and I wasn't experiencing the pain and this is just, what women get dealt with, once a month. I actually felt really invigorated and had a lot of gratitude for what my body was doing, and felt really connected to it all. And then to top all of that off, I bled for 5.5 days instead of 7. So that was a big celebration. My partner and I were celebrating every day that something was different from usual. He's been, really adorable in his support in all of this process. So, and I attended Yoni Steaming Circle again Saturday just gone, and it was just lovely to sort of reconnect again after my cycle had finished, to check back in that ritual space and give thanks and ready for the next cycle.
Amazing. I'm sure you would agree, if you're following through right to this point, how liberating it feels to have a new normal that you can now experience for yourself, and the vibrancy of watch this space for the next month and watch space for the month after, and notice how your energy changes, and notice how your creativity may change, and what you've got more oomph for, which you may have needed to grit your way through in the past, when we can really be dragged down by a very heavy, laborious, old residue cycle. Because what you're explaining, Chelsea, in your symptoms is that what's happened over a course of time is that old residue started to build in your uterine wall. And the normality of our uterus is a self-cleansing organ. And I keep saying this, is that we've got everything. We're born such a beautiful, perfect package, and stresses and environmental factors and what we eat and emotionality can sometimes lead to a suppression, and it affects it in our bodies differently, but for women we can be affected in our uterus, and so we hold on to that old residue. So when we come to bleed, in that 4 or 5 days we don't get all the residue out. And then at the top of the mind, there's a whole massive hormone practice happening with our uterus, our ovaries, our fallopian tubes, to say there's a new cycle that's about to start. We've got to close this cycle off because we need to start the new one. And so anything that wasn't shed gets locked in the uterus. And over a point in time, we get a build-up. No different to the build-up we get in our teeth, and then we have to go and get a big scale and a clean. So, not to say that you just had a big dental clean, but you certainly experienced a massive, massive release in such a short period of time. But you really did do the work. You really did do the work in showing up, and your body responded really, really well to that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap it up and leave it here?
Yeah, just on that, like what you were talking about, like, yeah, I had a job to do. Like, it was very much a commitment that, you know, it's great to do intermittent steaming for connection, using like a really gentle blend or just like hot water as part of a ritual experience. But what I wanted to get out of this was very much like changing my normal, because my normal was not normal. And I guess, like, I mean, it's really apparent in the work that I do as well that there's a level of commitment that needs to happen. And so what I needed to do for my normal to change was a huge commitment, and I needed to show up almost on a daily basis and reconnect in and recommit every 3 days, set up the space, do the steam, make sure you give yourself, you know, the allocated time where you're not interrupted, and re-gift that experience to yourself as often as you need to. But the work or the energy that you put into anything that you're wanting to change is going to be an equal measure as to what you get out. And you know, we know with all of the realms above the physical realm that who knows, with the mixture of setting the intention and putting your energy into it and actually physically showing up and doing the thing, who knows the expansive ripple effects of, you know, the commitments that we make to ourselves. So in the physical realm, my body is changing a lot for the better. My cycles are changing a lot for the better. But I was also experiencing very much other realms as well during this process. So, I guess there's no limitation to things that can be adjusted or healed, for the lack of a better word, with the work that we do in terms of Yoni steaming and any other kind of commitment work to bettering ourselves. Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and to just support you offline as well, like to be the person there that you go, you know what, something's not quite right, or I've just had a win, and just being in contact with me along the journey, and just experiencing you the way that I have in a short period of time. And I just absolutely embrace you in this moment, and thank you for opening up and sharing so vividly, and all of you to hopefully touch the hearts and the wombs of other women that are listening here today. Yeah,
you're very welcome.
So have a beautiful afternoon. I know that your delightful daughter is being taken care of in the other room. So
yes, she's being very patient.
I'll let you go and reconnect with your glorious child.
Yeah. If you don't mind me taking the opportunity, I'd love to just put a plug out for my Facebook page if anybody would like to know more information about what I do. And I do share a lot about other people's things as well. So you'll get some sort of plugs for Helen's offerings too. And also you can watch a really cute video of my daughter and I singing a song together about our wombs. So you can find me on Facebook. My Facebook page is facebook.com/The Connected Creatress. And I'm also on Instagram as The Connected Creatress as well. So I'd love to connect with anybody who feels called to my transmission and energy or story or anything. And I really look forward to the next steaming circle, Helen.
You're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Chelsea.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.